Hello everyone, this is Ajit Pio from Crack Verbal. In this video, we will talk about learning words through etymology. The first thing that we need to understand though is what etymology is. Etymology, by definition, is a study of the origin of a word. The premise here is that many of the words that we know in English, or many of the words that we don't know in English, have their roots or have their origins in different languages, in foreign languages. By understanding these roots or understanding these origins, we could easily make connections with words that share the same roots or share the same origins. So, how does understanding roots help me build vocabulary? Like I said, they help me make connections. So what that means is that when a particular root exists, which symbolizes or which signifies a particular idea or particular meaning, and when many words use the same root, although these many words could mean different things, they would still have the connection, that singular theme that goes throughout. And by understanding this theme, understanding what these words mean and how they are used in context can become quite easy. Secondly, because they have similar themes, because these roots can be observed and identified, you can use these roots as mnemonics or memory tools that help you remember and recall the meaning of a word, even when you forget what that word in itself means. I will show you how this can be used and how this is applicable on the GRE with the use of certain examples in the next few minutes. And finally, when you see a new word, you could essentially make connections with the words you've already known, and this could help you remember a word much better. Or on the other hand, if you know the meaning of a particular word and you also understand that it has certain roots, and these roots are shared by other words that you don't know, learning these words becomes so much easier. So therefore, using roots, you could learn the meaning of other words that you're not aware of also. So let me go ahead and show you an example of how roots are useful and how you could use them to, number one, make connections with words you already know, and also to use them as mnemonics to sort of recall the meaning of a word when you have to. So the first root of concern is the root circum. Now this you can find in words like circumference, where the circumference is the outer side of a circle, right? So circum, in a sense, means around. The area around a circle is your circumference. So let's see a few words that share the same root. Circumnavigate. You would have seen the secondary root here, navigate, and this means to travel, right? So therefore, circumnavigate means to travel around. You would have heard the word used in context, such as explorers having circumnavigated the globe or traveled around the world, in other words. A similar word is circumambulate. Circum means around. Ambulate, the root being amb, means to walk. Now words that use this root is ambulatory, which means to be in a condition to walk, you're not bedridden, or to ambulate. To ambulate means to walk. Another word that's of interest is circumspect. Now the root spect can be remembered in words such as spectacle, or spectacular, or spectate. All these words signify the act of seeing. Right? A spectacle is used to see better. A spectator is someone who sees. Therefore, spect means to see. Now try imagining what the word circumspect could mean. Circum means around, and spect means look. So think of a person who's always looking around himself, who's always looking back behind his shoulders, always watchful. So when someone is circumspect, he or she is very watchful, he or she is very vigilant, and they're very wary and cautious. And that's exactly what circumspect means. Another word of interest is the word circumscribe. The root scribe means to write. For example, to inscribe is to write within. For example, you have inscriptions on rings, or in a pen that you write your initials on, you inscribe your name. There is the word scribe, who is a person who writes for you. For example, if someone is blind, when they take a test, they have a scribe with it who sort of writes down everything that the disabled person wants them to write. Also, the word scribble shares the same root. So therefore, scribe means to write, and circumscribe sort of means to write around or sort of draw a circle around someone. Imagine someone drawing a circle around you, drawing a line around you, and then telling you not to cross it. This is exactly what circumscribe means: to limit someone, to contain something within boundaries, right? To set limitations, to limit someone, to constrain someone. That is exactly what circumscribe means. Circumlocution. Again, circum meaning around, locution has the root loci. The mnemonic you can use here is that of the Norse mythology god, Loki. If you watched Avengers, you probably know this. Now, the thing about Loki is not that he was mischievous or he was evil. It was just that he used to talk a lot. And this is what caused a lot of problems for him. And therefore, Loki, as a root, means to talk. Generally, a lot. Now, circumlocution means to talk around, or in other words, to beat around the bush, to evade the topic at hand and talk around it, right? So therefore, circumlocution means the act of talking around or beating around the bush and evading the topic at hand. That's exactly what it means. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pick that specific root, Loki, and we're going to see what other words share the same root. The first word of interest is loquacious. The suffix here, ous, means full of or filled with. When something or someone is filled with a particular quality, the suffix ous is used. And in this case, the quality that that person is filled with is speech or speaking. Therefore, when someone is loquacious, he or she talks a lot. Another word of interest is eloquent. The root e or eu implies goodness or being of very fine quality. For example, the word euphoria means to have or to be filled with a lot of good feelings. Eloquent, therefore, means to be spoken well, to be well spoken. So someone who is eloquent is capable of convincing others and is capable of being understood very, very clearly. Eloquent is a very positive word as well. To speak fluently and cogently. The roots soliloquy and monologue share the same roots, loci and log, and the prefixes are solo and mono. Solo means single, alone, mono meaning one. And therefore the meaning derived from these words is to talk alone, or when someone talks and no one else talks, it's a monologue. Or when someone talks to oneself, it's soliloquy. This word soliloquy is generally used in the context of theatre, when a theatrical performance is done with just one character talking to himself. Another word or word pair that shares similar roots is magniloquent and grandiloquence. Grand and magna both mean great and over and above what's required. So when someone is grandiloquent, someone is talking very pompously, very grandly, with a lot of grandeur. It means to be bombastic. Similarly, magniloquent carries a very similar meaning, which means to talk over and above what is normal, to be bombastic again, and to talk in a way that is self-affected. This word is interesting because this is sort of a medical condition. When you're somnoloquent or when you are performing somnoloquy, you're essentially sleep talking. Can you remember the word now which means to not have enough sleep or not to be able to sleep at night? Of course, the word you're thinking of is insomnia, and therefore som as a root means sleep. With that understanding, can you answer this question? What is a word for sleepwalking? Think back. We saw a root which means to walk. What word, therefore, could mean sleepwalking? The answer is somnambulate. And this is exactly what I meant when I said that you will become proficient at connecting words that you've never seen before. Now, going back through the words that you just went through, you'll realize that although you just saw two major roots, or rather in actuality you just saw one root of which you saw the offshoots of, you have been able to learn over 25 words. And it is very unlikely that you will forget any of these words because your brain has connected all these words in a very systematic, very fun kind of way. And therefore forgetting them becomes almost impossible. And this exactly is what's the benefit of learning words with etymology. Stay tuned to see more videos about vocabulary building strategies. Also do check out our blogs on GRE test smarts and other vocab building perspectives. Another thing that you want to keep in mind is that if you want to make vocab building fun, you need to be doing as much as you can to diversify your learning experience. A great way to do this is to download the free Crackverbal app from either the Android App Store or the iOS App Store. Until next time, I will see you with more GRE tips and strategies in the next video.